Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yasodanandana Brajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Brajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yasodanandana Brajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Brajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Brajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe. Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Jayam Vishpad Paramahamsa Pravijayakacharya Shotarasata Shishimadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki. ISKCON BBT founder Charya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. Grantaraj srimadbhagavatam ki. Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Fourth Order of Life, Canto 4, Chapter 7, Sacrifice performed by Daksha, text number 34. Risha Uchu Ananvitam te Bhagavan Vicheshtitam Yadatmana charasihi karmana jise Vibhuteyayat upasedyo ishvarim Namanyate swayam anuvartitim bhavan Rishu uchu Ananvitam te bhagavan vicheshtitam Yadatmana charasihi karmana jise Vibhuteyayata upasedyo ishvarim Namanyate swayam anuvartatim bhavam Rishuchu Ananvitam te bhagavan vicheshtitam Yadatmana charasihi karmana jise Vibhuteyayata upasedyo ishvarim Namanyate swayam anuvartatim bhavan Rishaya uchu Ananvitam te bhagavan vicheshtitam Yadatmani charasihi karmana jise Vibhuteyayata upasedyo ishvarim Manyate swayam anuvartatim bhavan Yashuchu Vitam te bhagavan vicheshtitam Yadatmani charasihi karmana jise Yata upasedya ishvarim Manyate swayam anuvartatim bhavan Rishaya uchu Vitam bhagavan vicheshtitam Atmana charasi karmana jise Vibhuteyayata upasedyo ishvarim Yate swayam anuvartatim bhavan Rishaya, the sages, Uchu, prayed, Ananvitam, wonderful, Te, your, Bhagavan, O possessor of all opulences, Vicheshtitam, activities, yat, which, atmana, by your potencies, charasi, you execute, he, certainly, karma, to such activities, na ajyase, you're not attached, vibhutiye, for her mercy, yata, from whom, upasedu, worshipped, Ishvarim, Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, Namanyate, are not attached. Swayam, yourself, Anuvartatim, to your obedient servant, Lakshmi, Bhavan, your lordship. Translation. The sages prayed, Dear Lord, your activities are most wonderful, and although you do everything by your different potencies, you're not at all attached to such activities. You're not even attached to the goddess of fortune, who is worshipped by the great demigods like Brahma, who pray to achieve her mercy. Please repeat. The sages prayed, Dear Lord, your activities are most wonderful, and although you do everything by your different potencies, you're not at all attached to such activities. You're not even attached to the goddess of fortune, who's worshipped by the great demigods, like Brahma, who pray to achieve her mercy. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the Lord has no desire to achieve any result from His wonderful activities, nor has He any need to perform them. But still, in order to give an example to people in general, He sometimes acts. And those activities are very wonderful. He's not attached to anything. Namam karmani limpanti. Although He acts very wonderfully, He's not at all attached to anything. Bhagavad Gita 4:14. He's self-sufficient. The example is given here that the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is always engaged in the service of the Lord, but still He's not attached to her. Even great demigods like Brahma worship the goddess of fortune in order to win her favor. But although the Lord is worshipped by many hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune, He's not at all attached to any one of them. This distinction concerning the exalted transcendental position of the Lord is specifically mentioned by the great sages. He's not like the ordinary living entity who's attached to the results of pious activities. If we could pray together. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Salakya Chakshurn Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Siyata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shiva Shakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhana Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Before I say anything, I apologize. The giving classes so many times. I wouldn't fault you to be tired of hearing this fifth class fool ramble on. But I do ask that you say, when saying the prayers, that you can hope that some mercy can descend upon me. That's the mood of trying to help each other. So I'm here, might as well try and make the best use of it. So with your blessings. The sages prayed, "My dear Lord, your activities are most wonderful, and although you do everything by your different potencies, you're not at all attached to such activities." Dharmasetu Prabhu mentioned that he thought maybe it was Bhaktivinoda Thakur. When he said that, I remember Jiva Goswami specifically says, if you want to understand Krishna, you have to understand that he's inconceivable. Satintya Beda Beda Tattva. The science of Godhead is inconceivable for anyone and everyone. Certainly the living entities. It said even Krishna does not fully understand his ever-expanding potencies and glories. So if he doesn't, how can a tiny little molecule of his marginal potency understand? It's impossible, inconceivable. Of course, he can reveal himself to the tiny jivas, make himself understandable, relatable, approachable. If he couldn't do that, then he wouldn't be God. He wouldn't have unlimited potencies, the ability to do everything. But he does. Parasya Shaktir Vidadaya Shuryate. By his unlimited potencies, everything takes place apparently as if automatically. He just desires and it takes place. Boy, wouldn't that be nice? Every time you think something, oh wow, this should be done, it's done. Or I wish so-and-so Prabhu could do this. Done. And that's the way it is with Krishna. He's completely full in and of himself. There is nothing but Krishna in his energy, so he's lacking nothing. As a result, he has no desire for anything. Atmaram, he's self-satisfied. And yet inconceivably, simultaneously, he's full of unlimited desires. But what are his desires? His desire is to serve his devotees. Just as we have unlimited desires, always in the liberated state, unconditioned state, or in the conditioned state, we have desire. It's the nature of the soul because it's the nature of Krishna. In perverted, conditioned consciousness, we're simply thinking about ourselves. But Krishna's not simply thinking about himself. He's thinking about all others. His love and his compassion drives him in this way. And those who specifically are surrendered to him, who understand that who he is, understand his potencies and activities, they are most dear to the Lord. Thought I'd be quoting this a little bit later on, but I'll jump right to it. Lord Narayan said to Durvasa Muni, I'm completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I'm not at all independent. Because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires, I sit only within the core of their hearts. What to speak of my devotee? Even those who are devotees of my devotee are very dear to me. That's where our ears should perk up. What kind of devotee are we? But at least we're attached or surrendering to the devotee of Krishna. Krishna says, O best of the Brahmanas, without saintly persons for whom I am the only destination, I do not desire to enjoy my transcendental bliss and my supreme opulences. The pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I'm always in the heart of my pure devotee. My devotees do not know anything else but me, and I do not know anyone else but them. Ninth Canto. Glories of the Lord and his devotees. So those who understand Krishna, who understand his desires, is simply loving compassion, the desire to serve, to assist, to give shelter to the unlimited entities, then the devotees of Krishna take on that same mood. That becomes their all-consuming desire, to help Krishna give shelter to the living entities, at least the devotees in the material realm. Preaching is the essence. Preachers are more dear to Krishna than any and all others. Sometimes he uses the words the Brahmins. The Brahmins are most dear to me. We understand the purport being the Vaishnavas, and among the Vaishnavas who in this world are supreme, the preachers. They're most dear to the Lord. That's his own words. He certifies it. So they're always trying to help each other, help the living entities, knowing that's the desire of the Lord. And it's very interesting. The Lord, although he can do anything and everything, he has no attachment for anything that he does whatsoever. Everything he does is a source of bliss. And for the pure devotees, it's the same way. They're simply absorbed in bliss. Now, in the beginning stages of Krishna consciousness, we think of bliss as in terms of like some homogeneous, one type of emotion, ecstasy. But in transcendental bliss, there's unlimited variety, just like there's so many waves in the ocean. So many different types of emotion, but they're all the cause of extreme fulfillment of love. One pastime, for example, I'll give Krishna's pastime first, and then I'll relate similar pastime of mine. One time when Krishna was in the courtyard of Jatila, the mother-in-law, the home of Radharani's husband, Abhimanyu, and he'd snuck there to see his most dear beloved. But Jatila woke up, she came out, he climbed up a tree to hide real quickly, and quiet as a mouse, still as anything. Who's out there? Is that the rascal Krishna? Stay away from my daughter-in-law. If I catch you, you're great trouble. Now, one time when I was a teenager, maybe about 17, I snuck into a girl's bedroom through the window. Her parents were in the house. And the father must have heard something, like she was supposed to be going to bed, and must have heard something, so all of a sudden, hide! So it's like, hide. So I jumped behind a dresser. You know, it's about this thick. So I'm there. He turns on the light. And, you know, I'm just like a rabbit with his eyes closed. I was in anything but bliss. I was scared, witless. And as fate would have it, it didn't cross his mind that there was some idiot young kid in his daughter's bedroom. Oh, my God. Hate to imagine. But anyway, go to sleep. Okay, Dad. Shuts the door. It's just like, oh, my God. You know, what relief. So I very quickly, you know, said good night, goodbye, headed out the window, and never did that again. Attachment to the activities, the desire we have in this world, the conditioned souls, it's all based on me. I want to control, I want to enjoy. It doesn't work out that way. Nothing's under our control. In the conditioned state, not even our own desires. But for the devotee absorbed in service to Krishna, his desires are perfectly harnessed, and he's fully satisfied. All he wants is Krishna's pleasure, and that's selfless. That's the purity of desire. And success and defeat, victory, failure, what have you, the devotee, that's not his business. He's simply trying to serve Krishna. And Krishna is the arranger. He is the sanctioner. His energies are that with which we are interacting. All we can do is desire, and the rest is taken care of by the Lord and His energies. So if he wants there to be, successful preaching, if he wants there to be successful results or this or that, it's up to him. In fact, the fully surrendered devotees of Krishna, they're like dependent, helpless children, the youngest child of the family, completely dependent on the mercy of the mother and the father. And that's the child that the parents take care of most, that they focus on most. The others, they can take care of themselves. But the pure devotees, those in love with Krishna, they're completely dependent on Krishna and feel themselves completely helpless, completely unworthy of being allowed to do service. And they pray earnestly to be given the opportunity to do devotional service. Just see, I made mention some time back, the difference. We become upset when we are asked to do services. We become upset when somebody else is not doing services we think they should be doing, are not enough service. Because I got to do it if you don't. If you don't do it, I don't want to do it. Nobody does it. Well, I know that's not right. But it's not my service, Prabhu. You'll just see the diseased mentality. The first thing we have to become attached to in Krishna consciousness is the service. The external services that the senses render. That's the beginning stage of sadhana bhakti. Be it Bhagavatamrita, the Vishnu Dutas, they say to Gopakumar that in the neophyte stage, the bhakta, the devotee, thinks he's the doer of the services. He thinks he's performing them. That's not the case, but he thinks it's such. And this is appropriate and allowed by the Lord because it gives personal motivation to the devotee to try harder. They get some taste, they get some mercy, having pleased the devotee of the Lord in their services. And so they make advancement, so they want to serve more, they want to surrender more. But the fact of the matter is, it's simply the internal potency of the Lord that is taking care of everything. The Lord's not pleased by anything but the internal Ladani Shakti. If that's not there, then where will the Lord get pleasure? How can the Lord get pleasure? He's not interested in anything else. Certainly nothing of this world. And that's why he's detached from the children who think, I don't need my father's help. I got it all together myself. I'm the doer. I'm the controller. I haven't quite got it fully under control, but I'm working on it. I'm going to get there. So the Lord's detached. If that's what you think, okay. But it's not that he becomes resentful. Sometimes he becomes upset, but that's very, very, after some long periods. For the most part, he stays detached, he stays neutral, and he gives all facility either to surrender or to be in Maya and try to enjoy separately from him, ignore him, deny him, etc. So we want to grow up. We want to become well. We want to give up the disease mentality. So we have to understand Krishna first and foremost. It's the foundation of Krishna consciousness. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and there's nothing for him to do, although he does everything. He has no duty, but he still performs it. And he doesn't do it because he wants to accomplish something. He does it just out of duty, actually, to help the conditioned souls. That's what goes on in this material realm. Simply to help us. And then in the spiritual world, it's unobstructed, loving reciprocations with each other. Simply competing to serve each other. The Lord, his devotee, and the devotee, their Lord. That's what we should be aspiring for when we hear of these things. If we don't embrace the spirit of service, of surrender and service, we don't develop a taste for hearing these topics about Krishna. We'd rather hear about the news, about the things going on, about this and that. It all has some interest for us. We don't deny it. Of course, any and all interest or attraction that we have for these things, that's due to Krishna. Anything beautiful, anything interesting, anything provocative, anything of value whatsoever, that's a quality of Krishna that we're seeing, but not recognizing that that's Krishna. That's the illusion, to think that there's not Krishna. It's only Krishna. Pure devotees understand that. That's how they become detached. You got a problem with, with me, and you scorn me with harsh words or with anger, or even worse, doesn't affect the pure devotee. He thinks I deserve it. I deserve worse. And any insult hurled at the devotee, it's almost always in relationship to something in regards to the bodily activities, or some mental perception or opinion. And those things have nothing to do with the devotee. They're not us. Bhaktivinoda Thakur and any and all pure Vaishnavas pray, don't let me fall back into the illusion that I'm the body and mind. Please, let me fully absorb myself in devotional service. Don't let me be like an elephant who takes a bath and then goes back and throws the sand and dirt and mud over themselves. No, this process of Krishna consciousness is very purifying. And if we become attached to hearing the glories of Krishna, become attached to glorifying Krishna in his devotees, I should have said in the first sentence, attached also to hearing the glories of the devotees. To the degree we want to be given respect or fame or praise, to that degree we don't have a taste for hearing about how good and how wonderful and how surrendered and how much credit is being given to other devotees. Doesn't do anything for us at all. But if we're trying to surrender, being just a devotee of the devotee, if we may be in the modes, it's not may, we have influence of the modes on our consciousness, that isn't seen as the most important thing. The Lord sees the service, the surrender. Certainly the spiritual master and the devotees see that. That's what they focus on. Chaitanya Bhagavat, it says, one who criticizes others, he goes to hell. Criticism has no place in Krishna consciousness. Compassion, helping, instructing, that's another thing. And the pure devotee has that motive when sometimes it looks like they're even willing to beat you with a stick. It's out of love for Krishna and out of love for those they're extending themselves to. Now, nothing's perfect in the ashram, nothing's perfect in this world. But for the pure devotee, the vision is perfect. When you see it's all the mercy of Krishna and Guru, then what's to lament? What's to hanker for? What's to be afraid of? What's to be angry about? Nothing, except our own failure and shortcomings. That we can be very harsh about. That we're given license. If you have a problem, put the problem, the blame where it belongs, at your own feet. Not on anybody else. And we righteously try to think, but Prabhupada wants this. This is the standard he expects, and they're not doing, and they should be doing. And it's all just an illusion. It's a test by Krishna that we fail so often. This self-righteousness that I know what it is, what's Prabhupada wants, what Krishna wants, and they don't. Therefore, people should listen to me. Therefore, I have the right to be angry. Therefore, I have the right to criticize. That's all a failure in the test being given by Krishna. The pure devotee looks upon others with compassion, with tolerance. Shortcomings, of course, we have shortcomings. Our friends, our associates, our compadres have shortcomings. We're in the material world for crimini's sake. What do you expect? We're a bunch of lepers. We've been rotten in the material world since time immemorial. But now we're in the hospital. We're taking to the process of rejuvenation and and becoming well. That's what the spiritual master sees. That's what he focuses on, and that's what he encourages and fans. He fans the small fire so that while the process gets pursued and engaged in, then the purification takes place, and the small fire at some point becomes blazing. At some point it becomes all-consuming. But all these things, we say them every day, we hear them said every day, but you know, the application of it is so much different. We fall short so many times. You know, for brahmachari specifically, the number one question of determining what is right and what is wrong is, what would my spiritual master ask of me? What would he think in what I'm saying and what I'm doing and what I'm thinking? Would he be pleased or not? If not, then we have to really, you know, do some soul searching and try to grow. We're going to fail unlimitedly in this process of sadhana bhakti. Small trips, large fall downs, whatever, that may come and go. Krishna understands it. But as long as you stay in the shower, engage in your services, knowing that it's me, it's not others, then Krishna sees that. And he never lets go. Even for those who go away from devotional service, they're not put under the direct influence of the modes, or I shouldn't say the modes, of the laws of karma. Let that sink in. How many people have left? You know, in the short time, you know, your friend, I won't say names, my godbrother. You know, you just take a short allotment of time. We've seen people leave. Some people told to leave. And, you know, I've been around as long as Ramapati or Balaram or myself. We've seen lots of people come and leave through those doors, haven't we? But they're not karmis. They've rendered service. Krishna doesn't let go. At some point they had some desire to give their life to Krishna, and Krishna remains fixed on that. And so they always remain under his protective glance and shelter. I'll give you an example. This is a far-out story that I read last night. There was one disciple, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Let me get my memory straight. Did he pass away in 1936? Okay, in 1933, a devotee from Assam, one of Lokajit's clan, took initiation from His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. Chanted his rounds faithfully, lived in the ashram for the full 3 years that his spiritual master was manifest on the planet. Very nice devotee. But when his spiritual master left this world, then his faith wasn't sufficiently strong to serve in separation. He left the mutt. In time, his rounds became weak. In time, he gave up the chanting. Stopped chanting. And then all the bad habits came. This is where I'll read this one little succession. The fall down, the progression of suffering. Got a pink little paper in here somewhere. But hold on to the essence of what I was saying. He quit chanting, and then he even started eating meat. He really fell down. So, you know, what's the tendency? Was it in here? It's in my Bhagavad Gita, not. What's the tendency? We look on from high in our righteousness, and we think, what a rascal. Deserves whatever he gets. Right? You write him off. That's so prevalent. But anyway, in Maya we have two defects. We forget we're Krishna's eternal servant, and we think we're the body, not spiritual. Aversion to Krishna's service, that equals ignorance. That's what ignorance means. Aversion to the service of Krishna. And ignorance is synonymous with the conviction that I am this body. As long as we think we're the material body, we're going to have material desires. And when you go down the path of material desires, what do they lead to? There's no fulfillment, so what does it lead to? Increasingly sinful activities. Sinful activities always result in suffering. So the root cause of suffering is aversion to the service of Krishna. So certainly this Prabhu, he became averse to the service of Krishna, even to the point he was eating meat. Prabhupada would sometimes ask a devotee who had fallen away and come to see him, but you're not eating meat, are you? Because that's such a, I mean, that's a corner. When you turn that, then the total ignorance can cover the consciousness. Then it can be a real rough ride and a long ride before given the chance to serve Krishna again. So anyway, he dies, leaves this world. Fast forward, he's on the burning pyre. He's on the logs at the crematorium by the river, what have you. They're about ready to light the logs, and all of a sudden, this dead man wakes up going, "Prabhupada! Prabhupada! Prabhupada!" Everybody freaks out. They run away thinking he's a ghost or something. He went home and he told his family, "That's it. I'm finished with family affairs. I'm going back to the temple. Going back to devotional service." And he went back. And he didn't even have to explain what was explained to us in the description of it to the person that he was supposed to go to. But here's what happened. He leaves this world. He dies. He goes, he's taken by Yamadutas, two really fierce, ugly, huge persons. They put the rope around his neck and they're dragging him down that burning sand, desert path, scorching heat, etc., to Narakaloka, taking him to hell. And it seems like a long time, and he becomes parched and thirsty. And he says, "Stop, can I get a drink, please? Give me a drink." And they go, "Oh, there's the lake right there, go help yourself." He goes over there and it's filled with pus, vomit, and blood. Of course, he's freaked out. "I can't drink that." And they said, "Well, that's all you got. That's what we had to offer you." So he suffers more, and they drag him to the courtyard of Chitragupta. He's the right-hand man for Yamaraj. He takes care of the hands-on. And he's in a long line, and he's really, really miserable because everybody comes before him. Chitragupta opens up their ledger. Take him to hell. Take him to hell. And there's so many different hells you read in 5th canto. Take him to that hell. Take him to hell. Everybody's going to hell. And Chitragupta gets to the devotee and looks at him, and then he says, "Take him to Yamaraj." He comes before Yamaraj. Yamaraj looks at him and he says, "Have you ever done anything good in your life?" He said, "Well, I was initiated by Srila Prabhupada." Yamaraj closes his eyes, and immediately Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada appears in the court of Yamaraj. And Yamaraj says, "This is your prerogative. But before he even finishes his sentence, giving the right to deal with him as he chooses, he lays into his disciple, 'What kind of rascal are you? Why did you give up the chanting? Why did you engage in such sinful activities?' And the disciple falls at his feet and begs for forgiveness. What does a pure devotee do when that happens? They give their compassion and mercy upon the devotee, the fallen rascal, and give him a second chance. They don't throw him away. They don't ban him. They don't consider him to be dispensable. They're Krishna's eternal servant. And as Bhaktisiddhanta, to put some context to their compassion, he said to his followers that I request that each and every one of you be willing to spare at least 200 gallons of blood in saving the conditioned soul. He said, go back to Calcutta. Take shelter of Madhava Maharaj. Let him offer you the names and beads again and take up the process. So he had awakened on the wood before it was lit. This was his realization. So he went home. He told him, goodbye, I'll not see you again. He went to Calcutta, Bag Bazaar, to the temple. He comes in and he says, I've been sent by Bhakti. He said, and Madhava Maharaj says, you don't have to say anything. I know what's happened. And he gives him japa beads and tells him, chant Hare Krishna. And then for the next few years that the man was in this world, he was very strict, chanting lots and lots, taking shelter of the holy name and doing service in the yatra. So if memory serves me correctly, the original point was that the pure devotees understand the desire of the Lord and they act upon it. And they are not trying to be judgmental or harsh with each other. Harsh with ourselves, strict with ourselves, and forgiving and tolerant with each other. That's what we're meant to measure up to in our association with each other. I'll read this paragraph from one of my god sisters. I don't know her, Ali Krishna Devi Dasi, but wonderful offering to Srila Prabhupada. This one paragraph has pertinence to what we're speaking about. Our gratitude knows no boundaries when we recall your Herculean effort to create an international society of devotees, ISKCON, where we could sustain each other on the spiritual path. A vast family where we could interact and in exchange of experiences and realizations. In a spirit of cooperation, mutual understanding, tolerance, and maturity. Qualities you inspired in all of us with your personal example. You also made us aware of our own vulnerability if we isolate ourselves, or if we fall prey of fanaticism, factionalism, dividing off, and various kinds of deviations. You are therefore forgiving with our weaknesses, but absolutely uncompromising with philosophical drifts. Heart soft as butter, words as sharp as steel, sharp as a knife or an axe. So when our Prabhus find fault with us, the motive may not be pure, the delivery may be less than ideal, but we should take it as Krishna's mercy. It's not easy, but that's the reality. He wants us. The Avanti Brahmana, he set the example for all of us. We're in, oh, did I lose it? Where when something goes wrong, or when we're criticized or chastised, what's the immediate reaction? To become defensive. Isn't that the nature of the false ego? To give reasons why, I fell short or this or that. That's Purava. I want the Avanti Brahmana. Give me 1 second. This will be worth your while. Avanti Brahmana, 585. We try to blame everybody else and not take responsibility. So when somebody is harsh with us, we become upset, we become unhappy. The foundation of anger is really, disappointment and unhappiness. But the Brahmin said when he was being abused by people right and left, without going into the details. I mean, just one line example. If you sit down to take prasadam, honor prasadam, and somebody came up and spit in your food, or past urine in your food, or while you're in the middle of it, grabs your food and throws it, I mean, how would you respond? You'd be pretty angry with the person. Yeah, seriously. And you'd be thinking self-righteously that I'm defending prasadam. You know, you'd think you were properly situated. Well, Prabhu, you know, this one-liner, if you're listening, you know, please forgive me. But we have guests. I don't care. That's when anger takes hold of us, we have no control. The symptoms are all given in Shastra. Red eyes, fast heartbeat, and breath, and clenching the fist, and you know, you're completely helpless. But the Brahman, he said, these people aren't the cause of my happiness and distress. He said, neither are the demigods. He's not going to blame them. Not my own body. Not the influence or position of the planets. My karma. He's not even blaming his karma. Sometimes you hear that, oh, it's my karma, Prabhu. What do you expect? It's my nature. If you want to hang with me, this is what you get. But that's not what causes unhappiness. Neither does time. He puts the blame on the mind. He puts it simply on the mind. And the mind is really incredible, because it's a dead, inert material energy. Am I right in saying that? 8 material energies, and the mind's one of them. The mind has no consciousness. The mind has no life. Well, then how does it become my enemy or my best friend? How does it become like a terrorist, pushing me in every which way but the good way of surrender to Krishna? Because we invest our consciousness into it. We've given power of attorney to the mind. We identify wholly and solely with the mind. We may artificially or immaturely or imperfectly think I'm not the body. But the mind, boy, that's a whole nother ball game. That's a whole nother stratosphere. I identify with the mind and the thoughts that come up. You know, I may be pretty good at controlling my eating, my sleeping. But thoughts are just on the same level, just a little more subtle. They have nothing to do with you and me. They're completely material. He even said the soul is not the cause of the unhappiness, because the soul is transcendental. Oil never mixes with water. So we can't even blame, you know. It's our empowerment, our acceptance, our surrender to the mind's paradigm that everything should be viewed in terms of, I like this, I love that, I don't like that, that's distasteful, that's gross, that's horrible. Accepting and rejecting, that has nothing to do with Krishna consciousness. Not when I is the center. I like, I don't like. If you put Krishna likes, doesn't like, spiritual master likes or doesn't like, the Vaishnavas like or don't like, then that's Krishna conscious. We have a spiritual mind. It's part of who we are. It's just covered up and unmanifest. The mind will function in that way on the spiritual platform, in spiritual realization, liberation. How can I serve Krishna? Oh, he doesn't like that. Oh, he likes it better this way. I can try harder. I can improve. I can, you know, those are all when the mind is our friend, when we practice and aspire and practice on that level in this life of sadhana bhakti. But the mind, the rascal mind, and the pure devotees, Rishabdev says, it's like a wild animal. I've caught it in a trap, and I'm not opening the cage. I'm not giving it a chance. Not giving it an inch. And the only way you can do that is in total engagement in devotional service, in total absorption in the kata that we're talking about. The glories of the Lord, glories of the devotees, the glories of devotional service. That's the only way, the only hope that we have. And we all understand this, and it's just a matter of encouraging each other in this regard. Hopefully directly, by trying to be a servant, trying to help, but even indirectly. Remember when I read where factionalism or isolation, you know, how many times does it come to mind, you know, God, I wish I wasn't here. Or I wish they weren't here. Or, you know, I'm going somewhere else. I should go somewhere else. But the reality is, this is where Krishna's put us. And when we were hearing this morning about, you know, Prabhu Datta Desh, that one should preach, one should travel and preach, you know, I was thinking, well, for us, man, if we all followed that, you know, took that out of context, there wouldn't be even the 6 or 7 or 8 of you Prabhus here. No, this is our Prabhu Datta Desh. This is where we've been put, and it's not by accident. It has purpose. Everything that happens in our life is for a purpose. It's Krishna's design. As devotees, it is His personal design. It's not the laws of material energy. It's under the protection of the Vaishnava, the spiritual master, the movement of service to Lord Krishna. And we need to hear these things and meditate on them and practice them and repeat them. I was reminded of the second thing you read this morning that said, it was using scientists as an example. As soon as they find some new knowledge, what do? Immediately they publish and they talk about it. And Prabhupada's next line was, otherwise the knowledge gets lost. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, one should ardently hear the words and instruction of the spiritual master. It doesn't stop there. Then one should repeat the message. Immediately repeat it. Constantly repeat it. He goes so far to say that if one does not repeat and share the message of the spiritual master, the one's eternal link with the spiritual master is broken. Man, those are sharp, razor-like words. We don't want to be broken from our relationship with the merciful spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, or any representative that the Lord has kindly shared in our life to guide us. Representatives. We don't want it. We want it to become thicker and closer and more intimate. So the essence is helping each other. The essence of the Sankirtan movement is cooperation. We're not going to do it on our own. And Bhaktisiddhanta wrote, 100 verses about how stupid it is for the mind to think I can do it on my own? So these are words that I've hit my mind over 100 times this morning. I've shared some of them with you, and I hope you'll share them back with me whenever you feel kind enough to. Are there any questions or discussions on any of these points? Bhakta Jamal Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Here. Well, it's a nice standard. Standard nice.
You said that we can't control anything, even our desires. So if we cannot control even our desires, how does one develop the desire to serve Krishna?
Let's stop right there on the first question. Okay. So it wasn't an absolute statement that there is no time in with which we can control our desires. I was saying it as an example to the extreme. We can't even control our mind. Krishna says you can control your mind with practice and detachment. And it behooves us to embrace the process with determination, praying for the strength. The strength comes from on high. It descends. We're always meant to be praying. But that desire is the meaning of God helps those who help themselves. The reality of it is the jiva only has the ability to desire. He can't do anything else in this world, and then everything else is taken on by the energies of the Lord. That's why the Lord wants so badly for us to give voluntarily our desire in His service. Because once that's there, then all auspiciousness takes place. So does that put it in proper context for your understanding? Okay.
My second question. You said that Krishna, this was just like 2 minutes ago, but you said Krishna, he personally arranges the life of the devotee. But since Krishna, I mean, he knows that we may take to devotional service in our lives prior to us actually doing so. Does that mean that he arranges the happenings in our lives previous to taking to devotional service? Like, does he?
That's a really good question. How many layers does an onion have? Did one's devotional service start in this life? If it started in previous lives, is the connection retained? My answer to that question is yes. He automatically takes, and I remember when I first read Bhagavad Gita and I heard what I was supposed to do, I was already practicing vegetarianism, and that's a big one, that one, as we said earlier in the discussion. But the fallen transcendentalist automatically takes to the principles of spiritual life. The momentum's carried on. The Lord doesn't forget them, and He facilitates, and He encourages, He fans, He gives the association of devotees. So, but let's just, so yes, but certainly in this life we can become fixed on the conviction that when one falls away from devotional service, becomes an outright, externally, a demon. Even in such extreme cases, the Lord has not forgotten or let go of him. And he's not under the laws of material nature. His suffering will be arranged by the Lord so that they will come to their senses. And if they're fortunate, they'll cooperate with the Lord in that reciprocation and take it up again. If not, then there's always the next life, because the Lord doesn't give up. My dear Uddhava, if my devotee is not fully able to control his senses, he may sometimes be attracted to material enjoyment, but because of his engagement in devotional service, he will not be diverted by sense gratification. And in essence, the commentary explains that diverted by sense gratification means he won't give up devotional service. There's lots of devotees that engage in sense gratification. They know they're not supposed to, but they're really powerless in their compromising of and surrender to the dictate of their mind and senses. But they still chant, or they still hang with devotees, they go to the kirtans, they still take prasadam. Lots and lots of devotees like that. I don't know. Could be there's more devotees like that than strict followers. That would make sense to me. But if they don't give up the devotional service, then there's hope for them. They'll not be defeated in life like the verses I quoted from Bhagavad Gita the last time we spoke, or two times in here in the temple, where their hopes for liberation, for fruitive activities, for their realizations, any and all of it, it won't be crushed to dust in failure like the karmis. No, whatever takes place will be done to help the devotee. I don't know how many devotees there have been, but I've seen a handful in my life where in the last stages of some terminal disease, they had no option but to accept the reality that there's nothing